shit, get your tea and your popcorn because this is gonna be a good one. 4 weeks after Tyler went on an interview talking about what he wants in a woman in terms of dating, she files for a divorce. Not to mention the fact that she is the one who pursued him to act in this role in her TV show. She knew who he was before he knew who she was, and she wrote a character with him in mind. She specifically wrote an entire TV show and an entire character for him to be the star of it.
To shoots me a DM because she had lived down the block from me at the time. It was like, hey, I have this idea for a show I'm going to go pitch, and I want to put your name in it if you're cool with that. And I'm like, yeah, sure. Let's see what happens. I was looking at other shows at the time. There was one of which is on currently and is very successful. But again, what's for you? There was something about one, she had built Gregory around me. And that was unique for me. I was like, okay, there's something here. But then there was that like feeling of, I don't know, every now and then you look at somebody, you're like, I feel like you got something. I feel like there's something in you to give. And that's how I felt about her. It was like, I feel like you're about to pop crazy and I can't put my finger on why. I can't even build the evidence or the argument for it. But I know that whatever it is you're about to do is going to take off. And it was one of the biggest blessings of my life because coming out of the pandemic, there were a lot of actors looking for jobs and trying to figure out what their next move was. And I wasn't even aware that during it all, somebody was building something for me specifically. Ooh. In the time where there was the most uncertainty in the world, there was somebody sitting somewhere thinking, I have something for this person right here. And it came from a place that nobody would have expected.
Okay, so he just revealed that Quinta actually picked him out. Quinta was building a character for him. She was essentially giving him his next job. So she is writing his character, or she's at least contributing to writing his character. So she was already thinking about him. She had her eye on him for years. She had her eye on him since back when she was still married, way back before she ever attained her millions, back before she ever like blew up with Abbott Elementary. She was essentially daydreaming about him, imagining a role for him, imagining him playing a certain position, both on screen and off screen in her life. While she was married to this white guy, she was thinking about Tyler, essentially manifesting him. Yet you expect the public to believe that everything is just acting, everything is just fictional. No, he just confirmed that everything is not fictional. Everything's not fictional. It's based on reality. So on the surface, it just looks like everything is by chance. But I wanted to talk about this because I have noticed a pattern where a lot of unambiguous Black women, they will get with these white men. They will try to get with these white guys who kind of look like hip hop rappers, or they will try to style him into a false version of a Black man. And then they call it the Black wife effect. They will spend their lives building up these white men. By the way, Quinta Brunson was in a hypogamous marriage from what I saw because the husband, her white husband, he just worked at like some cannabis shop or something. He was like a sales manager for a cannabis company. You can't even find her white husband's net worth online. You can't find anything about him building a company or anything like that. So it's pretty safe to say that Quinta Brunson was the protector and provider in this marriage. She was living a lifestyle of being a mule. And so I think that's very interesting because her marriage to this white guy, it represents exactly what a lot of Black women say they don't want to be. They say they don't want to have to like be strong and like carry everybody on their shoulders. Well, it looks like Quinta was carrying this white man on her shoulders. She happened to become a famous actress and writer. And what I think is actually very interesting is not only was she in a hypogamous marriage, but because she's acting alongside this Black man who seems to represent her true type, not only on screen, but it seems like off screen as well. And we're going to get into that. I noticed that now she's filing for divorce because she wants to be available in the event that she ends up dating Tyler. And by the way, all of this stuff I say on this channel, it's literally speculation, it's rumors, it's gossip. I don't know these people. But I found it interesting that just 4 weeks ago, Tyler James Williams reveals what matters to him more than looks while dating in his 30s. Tyler James, he is suddenly talking about his dating preferences openly. And then you've got him starring in a film with this black woman where they have this love story going on. And I know this because I don't even watch Abbott Elementary. And the love scenes between them, kind of the sexual tension that they're building in the show, this stuff pops up on my Instagram algorithm. And I don't even watch this show. So I've seen the clips of them in the TV show. I also saw an interview where Tyler was talking about how his kissing scene with Quinta, he said that it means a lot to him.
So let's now get to the big question.
Mm-hmm.
Gregory and Janine.
Okay.
Okay.
When you first read that episode where they finally kiss, what? I'm sure you had a lot of questions for the writers and for Quinta.
Yeah.
Like, okay, we doing this?
Yeah, that's what was like. All right, so now, okay. When I read it at first, I already my first thought before I even formed an opinion was like, I gotta call Quinta. We'll figure this out. Because when I read it, I was like, okay, so they're in a room and there's some flowers there, and I guess the flowers are nice, and that's what. Until I walked into it and I saw it. And I saw what the set deck did, and it made complete sense. Mm-hmm. And then when we shot that scene, it was like right before our Christmas break.
Yeah,
and it was just, everybody else had wrapped, and it was just Quinta and I had that last scene, and Randall Einhorn, who shot the pilot and has shot so many episodes that you love, is just brilliant. He worked on The Office for a bunch of years. He let us shoot it like a play for 3 hours. And it just came together like butter. And that's when I was like, no, now is the right time.
He has talked about how it means a lot to him to play this character of this good, wholesome black man. So isn't it interesting that this woman, she was divested, she was swirled, she was with the almighty white man. But as soon as this suburban black guy comes along, as soon as the quote unquote wholesome black man comes along, suddenly all of that swirling mindset goes out the window. Suddenly they abandon their white boyfriends or white husbands so they could have a chance at the BBC. Oh my God, I'm such a troll. But I found it interesting that Tyler is emphasizing how, he's not really that into looks, because Quinta, we know that Quinta doesn't meet the beauty standard. This is according to Black women's own talking points. A lot of them feel like they don't meet the Hollywood beauty standard. So isn't that interesting that Tyler strategically goes on an interview a month ago? So he basically says being pretty is not a flex, and I think everybody should be proud of the person they're with. So just a little bit of background on Quinta Brunson. Not only is she an actress, but she's also a writer. She has an estimated net worth of $9 million. And he has an estimated net worth of $5 to $7 million. So she would still be in a hypogamous relationship if she were to get with Tyler. But from the outside looking in, to me, it looks like she's willing to get out of this hypogamous relationship with this white guy so she can get into a new hypogamous relationship with Tyler. She wants the tall, dark, handsome man of her dreams. And if you guys have seen Abbott Elementary, if you've seen the clips, I've seen the clips with the two of them. And so we know that a lot of actors who get into these romance films and stuff, a lot of them end up either having affairs on set or they end up dating off screen. And the fact that Quinta is a writer, I thought that was interesting, because could Quinta potentially be writing the love scenes? Or could she be influencing the other writers on the show? Could she be influencing the writers to kind of escalate things between their two characters? Because if you look at Tyler's interview, Tyler talked about how he was surprised at the fact that they had a kissing scene. Like when he first saw the script and it showed his character and her character kissing, he was like, wait, what? Like they're kissing already? Like he was kind of surprised about that. Then he said he called Quinta so they could talk about this. So do you think there is any possibility that Quinta, behind the scenes, that she could be the mastermind building up the love story between his and her character, both on and off screen? So she's potentially contributing to the sexual tension between them on Abbott Elementary, and off screen, she's making sure that she's available and single, just in case Tyler, who recently talked about what type of woman he wants to date, just in case he's interested in dating her. She wants to make sure that she is fully available. Also, just a fun fact, both Tyler and Quinta have won awards for their acting. So it's giving, kind of that 50-50 dynamic, like, oh, let's build something together, the typical Black love dynamic. That's what they are already giving, because she's over here. She's really doing the heavy lifting with this show because she's the actress on the show. She is the writer on the show. Her net worth is $9 million now. She has won several awards. Tyler was kind of a struggling child actor. I remember he was in Everybody Hates Chris. I don't know of anything else he was in other than this. So she's on the upswing. He seemed to kind of be on the downswing, but because he has attached himself to Quinta and this TV show, now his career is back on the up and up. And just from the outside looking in, it looks like Quinta could potentially be falling for this guy off screen. Another thing that I thought was interesting about Quinta Brunson is that she started losing weight recently. She lost 30 pounds in 2024. So she's losing weight. She's getting her divorce. Her and her co-star / crush are both winning awards together. She's a writer. She's got $9 million now. And we know how a lot of women are like, this just reminds me of the psychology of a lot of Black women we have seen on this channel. Money tends to be what gives them more access to these men. It's not necessarily their looks. And so the way it comes off from the outside looking in, it looks like Tyler James Williams is impressed with her building ability. He seems to be impressed with how much of a career she has built for herself. He seems to be impressed with the life she has built for herself. And I'm not saying that he was talking about Quinta in his most recent interview about dating, but it sounds like he was, because she is the closest woman that he has access to that has built this phenomenal career. So isn't that interesting, where you'll see Black women online talking about how, oh, we're resting in our femininity, we're living the soft life, we're living our soft girl era. But then when you actually dive deeper into their relationships and you dive deeper into their life, you'll see that no, she's actually a hardworking Black woman. She's building a name for herself. She's accumulating all this money, and her money is actually what's giving her access to these men. And in a lot of cases, they will say that they're divested or they like swirling or whatever. They'll seem happy on the outside with their white husbands, but then as soon as their money gives them access to a Black man that kind of fits their type that they used to have before they suffered from colorism, texturism, and featureism trauma, once they get around their crush, then suddenly they want to make sure that they start losing weight, that their divorce is finalized, that their career is still on the up and up. And I also find it interesting that about a year ago, Tyler James Williams, he said that he hopes that his character and her character just remain friends. Like, oh, I want them to be in the friend zone. And what a lot of people don't understand about actors is that, you're acting like you're in love with the person. That's how brainwashing works. You act as if, right? So this is why you see a lot of people who star in these romantic films, romantic TV shows, they end up actually being in affairs and stuff like that. It's because your brain doesn't know the difference between acting something out, pretending like you have these feelings and emotions, versus actually having these feelings. So it seems like Quinta is falling hard. It comes off as if Quinta likes Tyler more than Tyler likes Quinta. Tyler seems to be impressed by her career and kind of like how much she has built for herself, because her net worth is higher than his. And he's been in the industry for like decades now. So he's been kind of struggling in the industry, and she is new to the industry. And, she's already built this amazing life for herself. So she comes off as if she could be mistaking his career admiration. He's kind of admiring her career. And I feel like a lot of women similar to Quinta who have not received a lot of male validation, especially Black male validation, once they get into these big careers and once they get all this money and they finally start receiving Black male attention, it's like they just come running with open arms. So this is why I don't believe a lot of the women online who talk about how, oh, well, I've always liked white men, or I've always wanted to swirl, I've always been divested my whole life. No, a lot of you guys haven't. Because as soon as you get some money, or as soon as you get access to a guy like Tyler, who comes off as more of a wholesome Black guy, then suddenly you want to make sure that you've lost the weight. You want to make sure that your hair and makeup is on point. You want to make sure that your career is on point. And then literally, I find it interesting that within 4 weeks of him talking about what he wants in terms of dating, oh, looks aren't that important to me. It's more so about being proud of who you're with. 4 weeks later, boom, she files divorce from her white husband. And I'm not saying that she was in a perfect marriage with her husband anyway. I don't think she was. I mean, clearly she was in an extremely hypogamous marriage. She actually would still be hypogamous with Tyler, but Tyler seems to be a little bit closer to her level. So do you see Quinta's potential social strategy there? Just a month ago, there was a TikTok showing Quinta Brunson in thigh-high boots and a booty skirt going to watch the Super Bowl with Tyler. So they're literally at a hotel together watching sports games. You can tell Tyler doesn't really give a fuck though about his outfit. He's just wearing some garbage bag pants and a t-shirt, but she's super dressed up. She's got the fresh relaxer. She's got the fresh pixie cut with a booty skirt and the thigh-high boots. She's got her sweatshirt unzipped at the top so you can see just a little bit of cleavage, just the right amount of cleavage if you look close enough. Yet you expect us to believe that you preferred white men. I don't think so.
He's just so deserving, and it was just a testament to how comedy is in your bones, it's in your body, and he's been doing it since a kid effortlessly.
And it's paid off.
I'm super proud of everything that she's done, and she is brilliant, but I'm most proud of the fact that she stayed real. She stayed the same person that she was before this, and I'm happy to have known her beforehand and after.
So I think it's safe to say that for a lot of women who come online complaining about black men, and I know that Quinta hasn't done this, but I think she's a great case study of how a lot of black women, how deep down inside they want that type of interaction with black men. But what do you ladies think? Do you think they're going to work out? Do you think that once Tyler's career goes back up, because she's been building up his career for years now, do you think once his career pops off, and if he ever becomes an A-list actor, do you think that he would stay with Quinta? Let me know what you think in the comments section, and I'll talk to you next time. Stay pretty, ladies.